The soft rhythmic hum of the solarium orbiter Elysium was Ilara's lullaby. It was a sound as familiar as her own heartbeat, a gentle thrum that resonated through the polished synthwood floor of her bedroom, up through her mattress, and into her dreams. Outside her panoramic window, which curved gracefully around one entire wall, the cosmos spread like an infinite, glittering tapestry. Not the harsh, blinding void of deep space, but a carefully curated vista of swirling nebulae and distant jeweled starfields, all filtered through the orbiter's advanced visual processors to be comforting, not overwhelming. Tonight, the view is particularly breathtaking. A vast emerald-green nebula, its tendrils reaching out like ghostly fingers, dominated the celestial canvas. Within its depths, tiny pinpricks of light, newborn stars, her father had explained, pulsed with nascent energy. It was a view that shifted and changed with the orbiter's slow, deliberate orbit, a new masterpiece painted across the sky every night. Ilara, a girl of 7 cycles, lay tucked beneath her bioluminescent quilt, its threads glowing with a gentle, pulsing light that mimicked the slow breath of a sleeping creature. Her companion, a small spherical AI unit named Lumi, floated silently beside her bed, its single optical sensor a soft, warm amber. Lumi was always there, a silent guardian, a patient listener, and a boundless source of information. "Lumi," Ilara whispered, her voice a sleepy murmur against the quiet hum of the orbiter. "Is the emerald veil always so sparkly?" Lumi's amber light pulsed once, a soft affirmative. Its synthesized voice, pitched to a soothing mezzo-soprano, responded, "The emerald veil, as you call this Cygnus X1 nebula, is a region of intense stellar formation. The increased visibility of nascent protostars tonight is due to our current orbital trajectory, providing an optimal viewing angle, combined with minimal atmospheric interference from the orbiter's outer shield during its nocturnal phase." Ilara giggled softly. "You mean it's extra pretty tonight and we're in the right spot?" "Precisely, Ilara," Lumi confirmed, its tone without inflection, yet somehow conveying a sense of gentle agreement. Ilara snuggled deeper into her quilt. Her parents, Dr. Eris and Dr. Lena Vance, were brilliant xenobotanists, tasked with cultivating new life forms in the orbiter's vast, domed biogardens. They often worked late, their days filled with the mysteries of alien flora. But they always made sure Ilara was settled, her room adjusted to optimal comfort, and Lumi programmed for her nightly queries. The Elysium wasn't just a space station, it was a self-contained world, a shimmering ring of interwoven biomes and living quarters, all designed to feel as much like home as possible, despite being millions of kilometers from Earth. There were simulated forests with chirping synth birds, crystalline rivers that flowed with recycled water, and even a central plaza where children played under an artificial sun. But Ilara's favorite place was always her room, especially at night, when the universe felt close enough to touch. Tonight, however, there was something else shimmering beyond the Cygnus X1 nebula. A faint, almost imperceptible glow, like distant, scattered pixie dust. It wasn't the usual star glow. This was softer, more diffuse, and seemed to possess a delicate internal movement. "Lumi?" Ilara asked, pushing herself up slightly, her small face pressed against the cool transparisteel. "What's that light? The one that looks like tiny, sleepy fireflies?" Lumi's amber eye shifted, zooming in on the distant phenomenon. A low, analytical hum emanated from its core. "Scanning. Anomaly detected. Readings indicate a localized emission of Stardust L. Ilara's eyes widened. Stardust L. She'd heard the term before, whispered by her parents in hushed, excited tones. It was rare, precious, almost mythical. Her father had once shown her a holovid of what little was known about it. A shimmering motile dust, each particle a miniature galaxy of light, said to possess incredible properties. "Affirmative," Lumi replied. Stardust L is a unique form of bioluminescent cosmic dust, observed primarily in regions of high stellar nursery activity, and within specific energy signatures. Its properties are still largely unknown, but its unique spectral signature, a gentle, pulsing light in the visible spectrum, is unmistakable. "Is it close?" Ilara asked, a tingle of excitement spreading through her. "Relative to our position, It is approximately 0.05 light-years distant, Lumi stated. However, its dispersal rate is exceptionally slow. While visually captivating, it poses no immediate navigational hazard or atmospheric contamination risk to the orbiter. Elara imagined the tiny particles, each one a miniature universe, drifting through the vacuum. She pictured them settling on the Elysium's hull, coating it in a layer of gentle living light. She wondered what it would feel like to touch it. Would it be warm? Cold? Would it hum? My parents are always looking for it, Elara mused, remembering their conversations. They say it's like a cosmic whisper, a message from the deep, deep past. Indeed, Lumi confirmed. Dr. Aris Vance theorizes that Stardust L may be a remnant of primordial stellar formation, potentially containing encoded information about the universe's earliest moments. Dr. Lena Vance believes its unique biological properties could revolutionize xenobotanical energy production. Elara sighed, a small, frustrated puff of air. They always talk about information and energy. I just think it's beautiful. Beauty is also a valuable data point, Elara, Lumi offered. The human emotional response to aesthetic stimuli is a complex and fascinating area of study. Elara giggled again. Lumi always had a way of making even her simplest feelings sound like a grand scientific endeavor. She gazed at the distant Stardust L for a long time, watching its gentle, ethereal dance. It seemed to beckon her, a silent invitation to explore its mysteries. Her parents were focused on its utility, its scientific value. But Elara felt a different kind of pull, a sense of wonder, a longing to understand its beauty, its story. The next morning, the simulated sun streamed through her window, painting her room in warm, golden hues. The cosmic vista was replaced by a vibrant artificial sky, a perfect azure dotted with fluffy white clouds. The Elysium had rotated, bringing the inner biomes into view. Elara could see the shimmering canopy of the central forest, a sprawling expanse of genetically engineered flora. After a breakfast of nutrient paste and synthesized fruit juice, Elara made her way to the orbiter's central observation deck, a vast multi-level chamber encased in transparent steel. Here, families gathered, children played in zero-G recreation zones, and adults chatted over cups of rehydrated coffee. But Elara wasn't there for the social buzz. She was there for the main view screen. The main screen, a colossal, curved display that spanned the entire far wall, offered a real-time, unfiltered view of their current surroundings. And there it was, still faintly visible against the backdrop of the receding Cygnus X1, the Stardust L, now a little fainter, a little further away but still there. Lumi, Elara whispered, clutching the small smooth stone she kept in her pocket. A genuine earth pebble, a gift from her grandmother. How do we get closer to it? Lumi, floating dutifully beside her, replied, Physical proximity to Stardust L would require a specialized long-range scout vessel, equipped with appropriate shielding and containment protocols. Such missions are highly regulated and only approved for experienced research teams. Elara's shoulders slumped. That meant her parents, not her. And her parents were busy. Always busy. But what if we could just, see it better, she persisted. Like a super telescope, or a really, really good camera? The orbiter possesses several powerful deep space optical arrays, Lumi stated. However, their access and operation require level 5 clearance, typically reserved for senior scientific personnel. Elara sighed. Another dead end. Her small fingers traced the outline of the Stardust L on the main screen. It looked like a distant, luminous cloud, shimmering with all the colors of a dream. Later that day, Elara found herself in the Biogardens, a sprawling, humid wonderland of exotic plants. Her parents were hunched over a shimmering, crystalline orchid, its petals pulsing with soft light. Dr. Vance, her father, was making notes on his datapad, while Dr. Lena, her mother, carefully adjusted a nutrient drip. Mom, Dad, Elara began, tugging lightly on her father's tunic. Can we go see the Stardust L? Dr. Aris Vance looked up, his brow furrowed in concentration. He had his mother's kind eyes, but they were often clouded by scientific puzzles. Stardust L? Oh yes, quite a magnificent display last night, wasn't it? Very rare to observe it so clearly from Elysium. Can we go closer? Elara pressed. In a scout ship? Her mother, Lena, straightened up, a gentle smile gracing her lips. Oh, sweetie, not right now. We're in the middle of a breakthrough with the Solara orchid's photosynthetic efficiency. And a deep space scout mission is a very complicated undertaking, requiring weeks of preparation and mission planning. But it's the Stardust Lee. Elara insisted, her voice rising slightly. You always say it's so important. It is, darling, her father assured her, placing a gentle hand on her head. But its study requires a different approach than just going to it. We need to analyze its spectral emissions, its energy signature, its potential for interaction with various elements. It's a very delicate process. Elara felt a familiar pang of disappointment. Her parents loved her, she knew. But their first love was always science, always the mysteries of the universe. And sometimes, those mysteries felt like a wall between them. I just want to see it, she mumbled, turning away. Perhaps we can project a magnified image of it in your room tonight, Elara, her mother suggested, sensing her daughter's sadness. Lumi can overlay all the scientific data for you. Elara just nodded, knowing it wouldn't be the same. A projection wasn't real. It wasn't a feeling the Stardust elves. That evening, as the simulated sun began its slow descent, painting the biogardens in hues of orange and purple, Elara retreated to her room. Lumi followed, its amber light a comforting presence. Lumi, Elara said, her voice quiet. Is there anything on the orbiter that uses Stardust L? Lumi paused, its light pulsing thoughtfully. Stardust L is not directly utilized in the orbiter's primary systems. Its rarity, and the unknown nature of its properties preclude its use in critical infrastructure. However, there are experimental applications within the research sector. Experimental applications. Elara perked up. Like what? Dr. Aris Vance is currently developing a theoretical Stardust L resonance chamber for advanced spectral analysis, Lumi explained. And Dr. Lena Vance is experimenting with a bioluminescent growth accelerator that aims to mimic Stardust's unique energy signature to enhance plant growth. Where are they? Elara asked, a plan forming in her mind, vague and undefined, but exciting nonetheless. Both experimental units are located in Research Sector Gamma 7, Sublevel 3, within the Restricted Access Zone, Lumi replied, its tone neutral. Access to this sector requires Level 4 clearance or direct parental authorization. Elara knew about the restricted zones. They were off-limits, filled with humming machinery and dangerous chemicals. But a thought sparked in her mind. Her parents were busy. They were always busy. And sometimes, when they were very busy, they forgot things. Important things, like turning off security protocols for a few minutes, while they went to retrieve a forgotten datapad. She spent the next few hours drawing in her sketchpad, her mind buzzing. She drew the Stardust L as she'd seen it, shimmering and alive, then she drew herself in a tiny scout ship, reaching out to touch it. She drew the Elysium, a beautiful ring of light against the darkness. As night fully descended, and the familiar cosmos returned to her window, Elara felt a renewed sense of purpose. She wasn't trying to break rules, not really. She just wanted to understand. She wanted to feel the wonder her parents only saw as data. Lumi, she whispered, as she finally lay down in bed. If I wanted to learn about Stardust L, really learn about it, beyond what the datapad says, what would be the best way? Lumi's amber light intensified slightly. Direct, unmediated observation and interaction are considered the most comprehensive methods of scientific inquiry, Elara. However, given your current clearance level and safety protocols, such methods are not advisable. Elara smiled into her pillow. Lumi hadn't said impossible. Just, not advisable. That was enough. She closed her eyes, but sleep didn't come easily. Her mind was filled with images of the shimmering Stardust L, beckoning from the cosmic depths. She imagined its soft hum, its gentle light, its ancient secrets. The next day, Elara shadowed her parents discreetly. She noticed their routines, their habits. She saw how they often left their access cards on their personal terminals in the biogardens when they went to the central cafeteria for lunch. She saw the moments of distractedness, The hurried glances at their compads, the times they were so engrossed in a discussion that the world around them seemed to fade. She wasn't planning anything dangerous, she told herself. Just a quick look. Just to see what her parents were working on. To get a tiny glimpse of the real Stardust L, not just a projection. That afternoon, a rare solar flare, simulated but intense, caused a minor system recalibration across the orbiter. The intercom crackled with announcements, directing non-essential personnel to safe zones. Her parents, of course, were essential personnel, rushing off to monitor their precious plants. "Lumi?" Elara asked, as the simulated alarm softly chimed. "Is this a good time to observe the Solara orchid's response to simulated environmental stress?" Lumi's optical sensor blinked. "Indeed, Elara. Dr. Vance has specifically programmed for such observation protocols. However, your parents are currently preoccupied with the main system's energy fluctuations." "Exactly," Elara murmured. "They won't notice if I just take a peek at their notes." She knew where they kept their personal terminals in the biogardens. With a newfound determination, Elara slipped out of her room, Lumi trailing silently behind her. The corridors were quieter than usual, most residents having retreated to their designated safe zones. She found her parents' terminals exactly where she expected them, on a workbench, their screens still active, displaying complex botanical diagrams. And there, beside Dr. Vance's terminal, was his access card, gleaming subtly in the soft humid light of the garden. Elara's heart thumped a little faster. This felt important. Not naughty, but important. "Lumi," she whispered. "Can you borrow this for a moment?" Lumi paused, its amber light flickering. "Elara, unauthorized use of a Level 4 access card is a violation of orbiter security protocols. Such actions can lead to disciplinary measures." "It's not unauthorized if I'm just looking for a second," Elara reasoned, picking up the smooth, cool card. "And my dad would want me to be curious, wouldn't he? About science." Lumi remained silent for a beat longer than usual. "Your father values scientific curiosity above many things, Elara. However, he also values adherence to established safety protocols." "I'll be safe," Elara promised. "I just want to see the Stardust L, the real one. Not the picture." Lumi didn't offer further objection, simply hovering beside her as Elara, clutching the access card, made her way towards the research sectors. The journey felt longer than usual, the quiet corridors amplifying the sound of her own footsteps. Research Sector Gamma 7 was marked by a heavy reinforced door, emblazoned with a flashing red warning light. Elara held up her father's access card to the scanner. The light turned green with a soft chime, and the door hissed open, revealing a dimly lit corridor lined with more locked doors. Sub-level 3, Elara remembered, following Lumi's soft guidance. They descended a short ramp, the air growing cooler, smelling faintly of ozone and something metallic. This was the heart of the Elysium's deepest mysteries, where secrets hummed in the air. Finally, they reached a door marked Experimental Materials Lab. Authorized personnel only. Elara swallowed, her heart doing a little flip-flop. "Ta-da." She held up the card again. The green light flashed and the door slid open. Inside, the lab was filled with soft, pulsing light sources, each illuminating a different piece of equipment. Glass containment units hummed softly, and holographic displays flickered with complex data. And in the very center of the room, encased in a shimmering, transparent sphere, was something truly wondrous. It was a small cloud of light, no bigger than Elara's fist. It pulsed with a gentle, internal rhythm, shifting through shades of iridescent silver, soft blue, and faint lavender. Tiny, luminous particles drifted within it, each one a miniature star. It wasn't just beautiful, it was Gallivanting. "Stardust L," Lumi whispered, its voice sounding almost reverent. Elara stepped closer, drawn by an irresistible force. The containment sphere felt cool to the touch, but through its surface she could almost feel the gentle hum of the Stardust L. It radiated a feeling of ancient peace, of boundless energy held in perfect miniature. It was nothing like the distant speck she'd seen from her window, nothing like the flat projections. This was real. This was a piece of the cosmos right here, in her parents' lab day. She pressed her face against the sphere, her breath fogging the cool, transparent steel. The Stardust L seemed to respond, its internal glow brightening slightly, sending tiny ripples of light outwards. She felt a connection, a resonance, as if the dust was whispering secrets directly into her mind. Not words, but feelings, wonder, age, patience, possibility. Suddenly, a soft chime echoed through the lab. A warning. Intruder alert, Research Sector Gamma 7. A synthesized voice announced over the intercom, flat and unemotional. Level 4 authorization override detected. Initiating lockdown protocol in 60 seconds. Elara's eyes widened in alarm. She hadn't thought about being caught. Her parents would be so disappointed. Lumi, what do we do? She whispered urgently. The lockdown protocol will seal all exits from this sector, Lumi explained, its amber light flashing more rapidly. We must exit immediately, Elara. Elara tore her gaze away from the mesmerizing Stardust L, a pang of regret squeezing her heart. She wanted to stay, to learn more, to understand its whispered secrets. But the reality of her situation was sinking in. She had to go. She turned to run, but as she did, her elbow accidentally brushed against a control panel beside the Stardust L containment sphere. A small clear vial, no bigger than her thumb, was dislodged from its magnetic clamp. It tumbled, end over end, towards the synthwood floor. Elara gasped, reaching out instinctively. Her fingers brushed against the vial, but it slipped from her grasp, hitting the floor with a soft plastic clatter. The cap, designed for easy removal, popped open. A single minuscule particle barely visible to the naked eye floated out of the vial. It wasn't the shimmering contained light of the main sphere. This was a tiny free speck, and it drifted towards Elara, drawn by an invisible current. Before she could react, the particle, no bigger than a grain of sand, drifted past her nose. She felt a faint tickle, a brief, cool sensation, and then it was gone. Inhaled. Elara froze, her eyes wide. She hadn't meant to. She hadn't meant to touch it, let alone inhale it. The intercom chimed again, closer now. Lockdown initiated in 30 seconds. Elara, we must move, Lumi urged, its light a frantic beacon. Shaking off her shock, Elara snatched up the now empty vial and the access card. She bolted for the door, Lumi zipping ahead to guide her. They scrambled up the ramp, through the first door, and into the main corridor of Gamma 7. Just as they reached the heavy main door, it began to slide shut, a final ominous hiss echoing behind them. They made it out just in time, slipping through the closing gap. The red warning light on the door pulsed relentlessly. Elara leaned against the cool wall, her chest heaving, her heart pounding a frantic rhythm against her ribs. She had seen it. She had felt it. And now, a tiny piece of it was inside her. A strange warmth began to spread through her, starting in her chest, radiating outwards. It wasn't an unpleasant warmth, more like a gentle, internal glow. She felt a lightness, a sense of quiet energy buzzing beneath her skin. Elara, are you all right? Lumi asked, its voice laced with concern. Elara took a deep breath. She felt different. Not sick, not scared, but undeniably changed. The warmth intensified, and she felt a strange, almost electric tingle in her fingertips. She looked down at her hands. They looked normal, but she could swear she saw a faint, almost imperceptible shimmer around them, like the lingering echo of starlight. She had glimpsed the Stardust L, and now, a part of it was with her. Her adventure had just begun. Elara took a deep breath. She felt different. Not sick, not scared, but undeniably changed. The warmth intensified, and she felt a strange, almost electric tingle in her fingertips. She looked down at her hands. They looked normal, but she could swear she saw a faint, almost imperceptible shimmer around them, like the lingering echo of starlight. She had glimpsed the Stardust L, and now, a part of it was with her. Her adventure had just begun. Lumi, a small spherical bot with a warm empathetic glow, floated closer, its single optical sensor zooming in on Elara's outstretched hands. My sensors are detecting an unusual energy signature emanating from your epidermal layer, Elara. Is fascinating. And well beyond my current database parameters for human biological function. Are you experiencing any discomfort? Elara wiggled her fingers, watching the faint, shimmering aura that seemed to cling to her skin. It was barely visible. A whisper of light that danced when she moved, like dust motes caught in a sunbeam, but infinitely more beautiful. No discomfort, Lumi. Just wonder, and a little tingle. It feels like my hands are singing. She closed her eyes, focusing on the warmth that had settled deep within her, radiating outwards. It wasn't a burning heat, but a comforting glow, like she'd swallowed a tiny benevolent sun. When she opened her eyes again, the shimmer around her hands seemed to brighten, just a fraction. Singing, Lumi repeated, its voice modulator adjusting to a tone of intrigued curiosity. An interesting descriptor. My audio receptors indicate no audible frequency, but your bio readings are elevated in a positive way. Your neural pathways are showing increased activity, particularly in areas associated with intuition and perception. Elara looked around their cozy living quarters aboard the Ice Starlight Wanderer, her home away from home as they charted distant nebulae. The ship was quiet, the soft hum of its engines a lullaby. A small, intricately carved wooden star, a gift from her grandmother, floated gently near the ceiling, held aloft by the ship's low-gravity field. She reached out a hand towards the floating star, not quite touching it, but extending her fingers, willing the strange energy to do something. She wasn't sure what. She just felt a connection, a faint thread stretching from her to the tiny wooden ornament. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, ever so subtly, the star began to spin faster, a gentle, almost imperceptible acceleration. Elara gasped, pulling her hand back. Did you see that, Lumi? It moved. Lumi's optical sensors swiveled to the star, then back to Elara. Indeed, Elara. A detectable increase in rotational velocity without any external physical contact. Remarkable. Your connection to the Stardust L appears to manifest as a form of subtle energetic manipulation. Elara tried again, more confidently this time. She focused on the star, imagining a gentle push, a whisper of wind. This time the star didn't just spin. It drifted slightly to the left, then back to its original position, as if responding to an invisible current. A smile bloomed on Elara's face, bright as a newly discovered comet. It's like I can feel the space around things, she murmured, awe in her voice. And just a little bit, I can nudge it. Lumi, ever the meticulous observer, began to access its vast databanks. The Stardust L is not a recognized entity in any conventional astrophysical or xenobiological classification. However, I am cross-referencing ancient galactic myths, folk tales, and theoretical physics hypotheses. There are scattered references to cosmic weavers, star-touched ones or aether connectors, individuals said to possess an innate ability to interact with the fundamental fabric of the universe through an unknown energy source. Cosmic weavers, Elara repeated, the words feeling right on her tongue. She closed her eyes again, savoring the warmth. The tingle. It wasn't just in her hands now. It seemed to resonate through her entire being, a gentle hum of universal energy. She felt more connected to the ship, to the distant stars visible through the viewports, to Lumi beside her. According to these fragmented legends, Lumi continued, its voice now tinged with a scholarly reverence, the Stardust L is not a thing but rather a concentrated fragment of primordial cosmic energy. The very essence of creation, perhaps. It is said to seek out pure-hearted individuals, those with an innate sense of wonder and compassion, bestowing upon them a gift of connection and subtle influence. You, Elara, appear to be one such. Elara felt a thrill course through her. A gift. From the heart of the universe itself. She looked at her hands again, the shimmer now a little more pronounced, a little more confident. She held them up, palms facing each other, and focused. She imagined a tiny spark, a miniature star forming between them. For a moment, nothing. Then, a tiny pinprick of light, no bigger than a firefly, flickered into existence, pulsating softly. It cast no shadows, gave off no heat, but it was undeniably there, a tiny star mote born of her own will. Oh, Lumi! she breathed, her voice hushed with wonder. The light danced, then winked out of existence as her concentration wavered. Extraordinary! Lumi exclaimed, a rare burst of enthusiasm in its synthesized voice. The ability to generate localized photonic emissions. This is unprecedented. We must explore the parameters of this ability, Alara. Carefully, of course, for the advancement of science and wonder. Over the next few days, Alara and Lumi dedicated themselves to understanding her new abilities. They set up a small controlled environment in the ship's unused cargo bay, transforming it into a personal training ground. Alara learned to focus the starlight within her, not just to nudge objects, but to gently guide them. She could make a dropped data pad float effortlessly back into her hand, or realign a stray crystalline data chip with a soft, invisible touch. It wasn't about brute force. It was about connection. She had to eye feeling the object, understand its inherent energy, and then gently coax it to move. It was like whispering to the universe, and the universe whispering back. She also discovered a new layer of perception. When she closed her eyes and focused, she could feel the faint energy signatures of living things, the gentle thrum of Lumi's internal systems, the distant, pulsing biorhythms of the ship's hydroponic garden, even the vast, slow currents of cosmic dust swirling outside the Starlight Wanderer. It was like the universe had gained a symphony she could now hear. The legends speak of starlight weavers being able to mend, to guide, to illuminate, Lumi explained one evening, as Alara practiced making a delicate mobile of miniature solar systems spin in perfect harmonious synchronization. Your abilities align perfectly with these accounts. You are not manipulating, Alara, you are harmonizing. Alara found that the power was strongest when she was calm, focused, and filled with a sense of gentle curiosity. Fear or frustration seemed to dissipate the shimmer, making the connection harder to find. It was a power that thrived on wonder and peace, truly a gift for a bedtime storyteller. One day, as they navigated through the breathtaking expanse of the Whispering Nebulae, a vast iridescent cloud of cosmic gas and dust, a small problem arose. The nebula was renowned for its unique fluctuating energy currents, which were vital for understanding stellar nurseries. They had deployed a specialized research probe, the Whisper Seeker, deep into its most intricate whorls to gather data. Suddenly, a red alert flashed across the Starlight Wanderer's main console. Warning! Whisper Seeker, probe signal lost. Localization failure. Energy signature rapidly dissipating within nebula core density, Lumi announced, its voice betraying a hint of urgency. Alara rushed to the console, her heart pounding. What happened? Can we retrieve it? The probe appears to have been caught in an unexpected localized energy surge, Lumi explained, displaying a holographic map of the nebula. It's drifted into a region of extreme electromagnetic interference and plasma density. Our standard retrieval drones would be damaged by the environment, and a full ship maneuver would risk structural integrity. Alara stared at the swirling colors of the nebula on the screen, a mesmerizing dangerous beauty. The Whisper Seeker was a tiny dot, now vanished, deep within that cosmic maelstrom. Losing it would mean losing months of research data. I can't. Could I help? Alara asked, a tentative thought forming in her mind. The warmth in her chest pulsed, and the familiar tingle spread to her fingertips. She closed her eyes, trying to a feeling for the probe, for its faint technological hum amidst the nebula's roar. Lumi paused, its optical sensor focusing on Alara. Your unique connection to cosmic energies. It is a possibility, Alara. The probe's signal is too weak for our conventional scanners, but perhaps your enhanced perception could locate its residual energy signature. And your ability to harmonize? Perhaps you could provide a gentle localized energy pulse to reactivate its emergency beacon, or even nudge it out of the interference zone. Alara felt a mix of fear and excitement. This was different from nudging a wooden star. This was real. This was important. I'll try, she said, her voice firm. They moved to the ship's observation deck, a panoramic viewport offering an unparalleled view of the Whispering Nebula. Outside, swirling rivers of magenta, cyan, and gold pulsed with unseen power. It was like looking into the heart of a cosmic dream. Elara sat cross-legged on the deck, closing her eyes. Lumi hovered nearby, monitoring her biosigns and the nebula's energy fluctuations. Elara took a deep breath, letting the warmth of the Stardust L fill her. She reached out with her mind, with her heart, feeling for the faint, almost imperceptible whisper of the lost probe. It was hard. The nebula was a symphony of raw energy, a cacophony of cosmic frequencies. It was like trying to hear a single tiny bell amidst a thunderous orchestra. But she focused, pushing past the noise, remembering Lumi's words. Harmonizing. She imagined her consciousness as a tiny, shimmering thread, reaching out into the vibrant chaos, searching. She felt the vastness, the endless stretch of space, the incredible power of stellar birth and death. And then, a flicker. A tiny, almost imperceptible resonance, a faint, metallic hum, lost in the overwhelming cosmic song. It was the Yi Whisper Seeker. It was still there. I feel it, Lumi, she whispered, her voice strained but triumphant. It's deep, faint, but it's there, like a sleepy little hum. Outstanding, Elara, Lumi exclaimed. Its coordinates are still too erratic for our ship to lock onto. Can you guide it? Or perhaps provide a small jolt to its low-power beacon? Elara focused. She envisioned the probe, battered and lost, adrift in the shimmering depths. She didn't try to eye-pull it. That felt too forceful, too aggressive. Instead, she imagined a gentle current, a tiny benevolent wave of Stardust L energy, flowing from her, through the nebula, to the probe. She pictured it as a soft, encouraging push, like a parent guiding a child's first steps. The warmth intensified, flowing from her core, down her arms, and out through her hands, which were now glowing with a soft, pearlescent light. She felt a connection, a delicate, energetic bridge forming between her and the distant probe. It was incredibly subtle, like trying to move a mountain with a feather. But it wasn't about moving it. It was about harmonizing with it, reminding it of its purpose, its direction. On Lumi's console, a tiny flickering green dot appeared on the holographic map, deep within the red zone. Elara, the Whisper Seeker's emergency beacon. It's reactivating. Faint, but detectable. Elara focused harder, channeling her intent. She imagined the probe's internal systems, its tiny thrusters nudging it, ever so gently, away from the most dangerous currents. It was an incredibly delicate dance, working with the nebula's own energies, not against them. She felt the resistance of the plasma, the pull of the stellar winds. But she held steady, a quiet anchor in the cosmic storm. Slowly, agonizingly slowly, the green dot on the map began to move, inching its way out of the densest part of the nebula. It was like watching a snail cross an ocean, but it was moving. Elara felt a deep exhaustion settle over her, but also an exhilarating sense of purpose. Her hands still glowed, a testament to the Stardust's power flowing through her. She was a bridge, a conduit, a whisperer to the stars. After what felt like an eternity, the green dot finally cleared the extreme interference zone. Signal strength increasing. Whisper Seeker is re-establishing full communication, Lumi announced, its voice filled with relief and profound admiration. It appears to be heading on a stable trajectory back towards the Starlight Wanderer. Elara slumped back, utterly spent, but a wide triumphant smile graced her face. The light in her hands faded, but the warmth remained, a deep, comforting glow. She had done it. She had guided the lost probe home. The E-Whisper Seeker was soon safely retrieved, its precious data intact. Lumi meticulously analyzed the probe's logs, discovering a momentary localized energy surge that defied all known physics, a subtle guiding pulse that had redirected the probe at precisely the right moment. It was your influence, Elara, Lumi confirmed, its optical sensor soft with respect. Your harmonizing ability is more powerful and precise than we initially understood. You didn't just reactivate it, you guided it, gently, through impossible conditions. Elara looked out at the whispering nebula, now a little less daunting, a little more familiar. The universe felt less like a vast, cold expanse, and more like a living, breathing entity she could connect with. The Stardust L had not just given her a gift, it had shown her a new way of seeing, a new way of being. The legends also suggest that the Stardust L fragments are sometimes placed strategically, Lumi mused, its databanks still whirring with new information. Perhaps to guide, to protect, or to awaken others. Perhaps this was just the beginning of your journey, Alara. Perhaps there are other Starlight Weavers, other fragments, waiting to be found. Or perhaps the Stardust L itself has a grander purpose, and you are now a part of it. Alara smiled, a peaceful knowing smile. She knew deep in her heart that Lumi was right. Her adventure was far from over. The universe, in all its wondrous shimmering glory, was calling. And Alara, the Starlight Weaver, was ready to answer. Alara smiled, a peaceful, knowing smile. She knew, deep in her heart, that Lumi was right. Her adventure was far from over. The universe, in all its wondrous, shimmering glory, was calling. And Alara, the Starlight Weaver, was ready to answer. The first thing Alara did was simply feel. The Stardust L pulsed gently on her chest, a warm, resonant thrum against her skin, no longer a mere artifact, but an extension of herself. She closed her eyes, reaching inward, and felt the delicate threads of energy that now seemed to connect her to everything. It wasn't a sudden burst of power, but a quiet, profound awareness. Lumi, she whispered, her voice barely audible even in the quiet solitude of her small living sphere. What now? Lumi's holographic form shimmered into existence beside her, its soft azure light casting gentle shadows. Now, Alara, you explore, you experiment. You learn the language of the cosmos that now flows through you. Lumi's voice, always calm and reassuring, held a note of profound anticipation. Think of a light, Alara, a simple light. Alara focused. She imagined a tiny, perfect sphere of golden light, like a captured sunbeam. A faint warmth bloomed in her palm, and when she opened her hand, there it was. A miniature sun, no bigger than a marble, floating just above her skin. It pulsed with a soft, steady glow, completely silent, utterly captivating. A gasp escaped her lips. This was real. This was a hair. She willed it to change color, and it shifted to a cool silver, then a vibrant violet. She made it dance, spiraling around her fingers, leaving faint, shimmering trails in the air. It was like painting with pure energy. Incredible, Lumi murmured, its optical sensors focusing intently. The energy signature is pristine. Pure starlight, channeled and refined by your will. Over the next few cycles, Alara dedicated herself to understanding her newfound abilities. Her living sphere, usually a model of minimalist order, transformed into a canvas for her light weaving. She learned to project intricate constellations onto the walls, to create ephemeral sculptures of swirling nebulae that drifted gently before dissipating like morning mist. She discovered she could subtly manipulate existing light sources, dimming the sphere's ambient glow with a thought, or brightening a data slate screen without touching it. The Stardust L hummed with quiet satisfaction as her skills grew. She found that the more she practiced, the more intuitive it became. It wasn't about brute force, but about focus, intention, and a deep, almost spiritual connection to the energy she was drawing upon. She could feel the subtle variations in cosmic energy, the faint whispers of distant stars, the silent symphony of the universe. One evening, as she was practicing, attempting to weave a complex multi-layered aurora within her sphere, Lumi's form flickered with a sudden urgency. Alara, Lumi's voice was sharper than usual. I'm detecting a unique energy signature. It's faint, very faint, but it resonates with the Stardust L, a harmonic frequency I've never observed before. Alara felt it too, a subtle tug deep within her chest, a quiet hum that echoed the Stardust's own pulse. It was like a distant bell ringing, calling to her. Another fragment, she whispered, her heart quickening. Possibly, Lumi confirmed. Or perhaps another weaver. The signature is emanating from a sector far beyond our current jurisdiction, deep within the uncharted reaches of the crystalline expanse. The crystalline expanse. Alara knew the name from ancient star charts and whispered legends. It was a region of space fabled for its colossal crystal formations, nebulae that glittered like shattered jewels, and often treacherous energy storms. Few dared to venture there, and even fewer returned with tales of success. How far? Elara asked, her gaze turning to the viewport that showed the endless tapestry of stars. Lumi projected a holographic star map. A tiny, pulsating red dot appeared, impossibly distant, amidst a swirling blue and violet haze. Approximately 800 parsecs. A journey that would take a standard cargo freighter several cycles. But we are not a standard freighter. Elara looked at Lumi, then down at the Stardust L. A thrill, equal parts apprehension and excitement, coursed through her. This was it. The next step. We need a ship, she declared, her voice firm. Precisely, Lumi replied, its holographic form shifting to reveal schematics of a sleek, elegant vessel. I have been compiling data on a suitable craft. The Isla Winarises, a scout-class explorer, designed for deep space reconnaissance. It has a high-efficiency jump drive, advanced shielding, and sophisticated sensor arrays. It also happens to be unoccupied in a discrete sector of the orbital dock. Lumi's optical sensors seemed to twinkle with a hint of playful mischief. Elara laughed. You've been busy, haven't you? Anticipation is a core function of my programming, Elara. And I anticipated your spirit of adventure. Preparing for the journey was a whirlwind of activity. Elara used her Starlight Weaver abilities in practical ways she hadn't imagined. She subtly bypassed security protocols in the orbital dock, weaving patterns of light and energy that confused automated systems, allowing her and Lumi to slip aboard the Illuminares unnoticed. Inside, the ship was a marvel of ergonomic design and shimmering controls. The cockpit was a panoramic dome, offering an unobstructed view of the cosmos. Lumi integrated seamlessly into the ship's systems, its core consciousness now spread throughout the Illuminares, making the vessel feel alive. Welcome aboard, Elara. Lumi's voice resonated through the ship's internal comms, rich and full. Your chariot awaits. As the Illuminares silently disengaged from the dock and drifted away from the familiar hum of the space station, Elara felt a pang of nostalgia, quickly replaced by exhilaration. She was leaving behind the only home she'd ever truly known, venturing into the unknown. But she wasn't alone. She had Lumi, and the Stardust L, a beacon of cosmic power beating against her chest. Destination: crystalline expanse, she commanded, her fingers dancing over the holographic controls. With a gentle shudder, the Illuminaris engaged its jump drive. The stars outside elongated into streaks of pure light, then dissolved into a swirling vortex of sapphire and silver. The ship plunged into hyperspace, a realm beyond normal perception, a river of pure energy flowing between distant points. The journey was unlike anything Elara had imagined. Hyperspace wasn't empty. It was a vibrant, ever-changing tapestry of light and shadow. Lumi projected real-time visualizations onto the cockpit dome, translating the esoteric energies into breathtaking visuals. Streams of crimson energy flowing past like cosmic currents, shimmering veils of emerald light that billowed like silent sails, and distant flickering motes of gold that Lumi identified as nascent star systems, glimpsed through the fabric of warped space. Elara spent hours simply watching, mesmerized. She realized that her Starlight Weaver abilities seemed to resonate with hyperspace itself. She could feel the subtle shifts in the energy currents, almost guiding the Illuminares with a thought, a slight adjustment to the ship's trajectory that Lumi confirmed was remarkably precise. Your connection to ambient stellar energy is enhancing the drive's efficiency, Elara, Lumi reported one cycle. We are making excellent time. During the non-jump phases, when the Illuminares dropped back into normal space for recalibration and sensor sweeps, Elara practiced her weaving. She discovered she could project shimmering energy nets to capture stray space debris, or create brilliant flares to warn off curious but benign cosmic entities. She even managed to create a small, self-sustaining light orb that provided a comforting warm glow in her quarters, powered by her own latent energy, a miniature sun to banish the vast emptiness outside. After what felt like an eternity, but was in fact only a few standard cycles, Lumi announced their arrival. Exiting hyperspace in 3, 2, 1. The swirling vortex snapped back into a field of brilliant, sharp stars. But this was no ordinary starfield. They had arrived. The crystalline expanse was exactly as the legends described, and yet infinitely more magnificent. Before them stretched a cosmos unlike any Alara had ever seen. Giant, crystalline structures like colossal geodes drifted silently through space, some kilometers wide, their facets reflecting and refracting the light of distant nebulae into dazzling, kaleidoscopic displays. Rivers of shimmering dust and nebulae, shot through with veins of emerald and amethyst, flowed between these crystal islands. It was a space garden, sculpted by unimaginable forces, bathed in a perpetual twilight glow. "The energy signature is stronger here, Alara," Lumi's voice hummed with a low resonance. "It's coming from within that nebula." Lumi highlighted a particularly dense cloud of opalescent dust, shot through with flashes of emerald lightning. Specifically from a planetary body nestled deep within its core. Alara felt the tug again, stronger this time, a vibrant hum that resonated deep within her bones. It wasn't just a signal. It was an invitation. "Prepare for atmospheric entry," Alara commanded, her gaze fixed on the glowing nebula. Tau. Set a course for the energy source. Navigating the nebula was a challenge. The crystalline dust wasn't just aesthetic. It was electromagnetically charged, creating pockets of turbulence and disrupting sensor readings. The Illuminarison shuddered occasionally, but Alara used her Starlight Weaver abilities to stabilize the ship, projecting subtle energy fields that counteracted the turbulence, guiding them through the tempestuous currents of the cosmic cloud. Lumi in turn refined her projections, learning from her unique input. Finally, they broke through the last veil of gas. Below them lay a planet shrouded in perpetual twilight, illuminated by the shifting internal glow of the nebula itself. It was a world of living light. Giant, luminescent flora pulsed with soft, rhythmic glows, creating vast, ethereal forests that stretched to the horizon. Rivers of liquid light, shimmering with internal currents, snaked through valleys. The very ground seemed to breathe light, dotted with glowing mosses and crystalline fungi that pulsed in sync with the planet's silent rhythm. Above, strange, gentle creatures, like living constellations, drifted lazily through the lower atmosphere, their bodies trailing shimmering dust. "A world of pure light energy," Lumi breathed. "Remarkable. The energy signatures emanating from that structure." Lumi zoomed in on a vast, spire-like formation that pierced the glowing canopy of the forest, reaching towards the sky like a giant crystal needle. It pulsed with a steady golden light, distinct from the surrounding flora. Alara brought the Eye Luminaris down gently, landing in a clearing near the base of the colossal spire. As the ramp lowered, a wave of warm, sweet-smelling air washed over her. She stepped out, clad in a lightweight exploration suit that shimmered faintly, designed to adapt to various atmospheres. The air here was breathable, filled with a faint scent of ozone and something akin to blooming night flowers. The ground under her feet was soft, covered in glowing moss that compressed under her boots, releasing tiny bursts of iridescent spores. The silence was profound, broken only by the gentle hum of the Eye Luminaris and the soft, rhythmic pulsing of the surrounding flora. As she approached the spire, the golden light intensified, drawing her in. It wasn't artificial. It felt ancient, organic, almost alive. The spire itself was made of countless interlocking crystals, each one radiating a soft internal luminescence. They seemed to hum with a silent song, a song that Alara could almost hear, a melody of pure energy. At the base of the spire, embedded in the living rock, was a clear indentation, perfectly shaped to hold something small and round. And within that indentation, glowing with a soft, inviting light, was another fragment. It was smaller than the Stardust L, a perfect sphere of polished obsidian, shot through with veins of what looked like captured starlight. It pulsed with the same resonant frequency that had guided them across the stars. It was a twin, a sibling, to the fragment on her chest. Alara reached out a trembling hand. As her fingers brushed the surface of the obsidian sphere, a jolt of pure energy coursed through her, not painful, but exhilarating. The Stardust L on her chest thrummed in excited anticipation. The obsidian fragment lifted itself from its resting place, floating gently towards her, drawn by an invisible thread. As it neared, the veins of starlight within it seemed to reach out, forming delicate tendrils of light that entwined with the Stardust L. A powerful surge of warmth spread through Alara's body as the two fragments merged, not physically but energetically. The obsidian sphere dissolved into pure light, flowing into the Stardust L, which pulsed brighter, its light deepening from soft silver to a vibrant luminous gold. Elara gasped, overwhelmed by the influx of energy. Her senses sharpened. She could feel the planet's pulse, the silent song of the crystal spire, the life force of the luminous forest all around her. She felt more connected, more attuned to the cosmic tapestry than ever before. New possibilities bloomed in her mind, new ways to weave light, to understand the universe. The Stardust L has integrated the new fragment, Lumi's voice whispered, filled with awe. Its power's signature has increased exponentially. And yours, Elara. You are growing stronger. As the energy settled, Elara felt a subtle shift, a faint, almost imperceptible whisper in the back of her mind. It wasn't a voice but a sensation, a memory echo. She saw fleeting images, ancient beings, draped in robes of starlight, moving with grace and wisdom. They were builders, weavers, caretakers of cosmic energy. They were the original starlight weavers. And they had left these fragments, these gifts, scattered across the universe. For what purpose? Then, the whispers intensified, carrying a new message. Not a memory, but a call. A plea. Another fragment, yes, but this one carried with it a sense of urgency, of distress. It was distant, far beyond even the crystalline expanse, in a sector known for its dying stars and collapsing nebulae. A place of cosmic entropy. And with the call came a clearer image. Superimposed over the ancient memories, a single shimmering tear, falling from the eye of a distant star-robed figure. Lumi, Elara said, her voice laced with a newfound urgency. There's another one, and it needs help. Lumi's holographic form appeared beside her, its blue light reflecting the golden glow of the now-enhanced Stardust LAIM detecting it. Elara, a powerful, yet fragmented signal. It suggests a starlight weaver in peril, or perhaps a fragment on the verge of fading. Elara looked up at the shimmering sky of the crystalline expanse, then out towards the distant, dark sectors of the cosmos. The universe was vast, full of wonder, but also of challenges. And now, it seemed, a plea for help. She touched the Stardust L, feeling its comforting warmth, its vibrant pulse. Her journey had just begun. The Starlight Weaver was ready to answer the call, to bring light to the darkness, to mend what was broken. The path ahead was uncertain, fraught with unknown dangers, but Elara felt a surge of unwavering determination. She was a part of something grander now, a keeper of starlight, a beacon of hope in the endless night. And a tear in the cosmos was a call she could not ignore. The Stardust L, a vessel crafted from spun nebulae and crystalline light, shimmered as Elara initiated its launch sequence. The gentle hum that vibrated through the deck was a lullaby, a promise of adventure. Outside her viewport, the familiar glow of her home star system began to recede, shrinking into a distant pinprick as the Stardust L engaged its chronodrive. It wasn't faster than light travel in the conventional sense, but a delicate manipulation of temporal currents, allowing the ship to glide through the cosmic fabric, bending moments and distances to its will. Elara settled into her pilot's chair, a comfortable embrace of woven starlight fibers that molded to her form. Her fingers danced across the holographic console, bringing up navigational charts. The distress signal had been faint, a fractured whisper across unimaginable distances, yet its coordinates were precise. Deep within the uncharted reaches of the Whispering Vales, a region of space known for its ethereal nebulae and perplexing gravitational anomalies. Few dared venture there, and fewer still returned unchanged. Stardust L. Maintain course. Optimal efficiency, she murmured, her voice a soft command that the ship seemed to absorb and execute. The ship responded with a faint chime, its AI, named Lyra, a companion woven into its very core, confirming the command. Lyra wasn't a voice in a speaker, but a presence, a subtle shift in the ship's ambient light, a warmth in the air, a gentle suggestion appearing on the console. As the days melted into weeks, time becoming a fluid concept within the chronodrive's embrace, Elara gazed out at the cosmic tapestry unfolding before her. Swirling galaxies like spilled paint, iridescent nebulae that pulsed with the birth of stars, comets trailing tails of diamond dust. Each vista was a breathtaking masterpiece, a reminder of the infinite wonder she was sworn to protect. She spent hours in silent contemplation, her hands resting on the Stardust's heart, absorbing the subtle energies of the universe, honing her connection to the starlight. She practiced weaving, not with physical threads, but with pure light, guiding stray photons, mending minuscule distortions in the ship's energy field, preparing herself for the unknown challenge ahead. The Whispering Veils were aptly named. As the Stardust decelerated out of chronodrive, the silence was profound, broken only by the faint, almost imperceptible hum of the ship. The nebulae here weren't bright and vibrant, they were ghostly, translucent sheets of cosmic dust that draped across the void like forgotten shrouds. Strange, shimmering currents of dark energy flowed between them, bending starlight into distorted, haunting patterns. The air within the ship grew subtly cooler, a prickle of unease raising the hairs on Alara's arms. Lyra projected a three-dimensional map onto the console, highlighting the distress signal's origin point. It was nestled deep within a particularly dense cluster of these ghostly veils, a place where even the brightest stars seemed to dim, their light swallowed by the pervasive gloom. Lyra. Scan for anomalies, energy fluctuations, anything out of the ordinary, Alara commanded, her voice hushed. The ship's sensors hummed, extending their reach into the spectral void. Moments later, Lyra projected a visual onto the main viewport dial. Alara gasped. It wasn't a tear in the conventional sense, not a jagged rip. It was a eye-fraying. A vast, swirling vortex of iridescent black, where the very fabric of space seemed to be unraveling. Stars nearby were stretched into elongated streaks of light, their forms distorted as if reflected in a funhouse mirror. Colors bled into each other, then faded into stark monochrome. It was a wound, an open sore in the cosmos, pulsing with an unnatural coldness that radiated even through the ship's shielding. Around its edges, faint, almost imperceptible whispers seemed to emanate, carried on the dark energy currents, not words, but echoes of sorrow. A profound cosmic grief. The distress signal. It's emanating from the heart of the fray, Lyra indicated, a small red beacon blinking ominously within the vortex. Alara guided the Stardust closer, her heart pounding a rhythm against her ribs. The ship's hull groaned softly under the immense gravitational and energetic stresses. She could feel the fray's pull, a desperate yearning to unravel everything, to dissolve into nothingness. This wasn't a tear caused by a cataclysmic event, a collision of galaxies, or a rogue black hole. This was something far more insidious, something that preyed on the very connection that bound the universe together. As they approached, a flickering image solidified on the auxiliary screen, a small, almost microscopic vessel, caught within the fray's swirling currents, desperately trying to send out its final plea. It was an old model, Stardust Sparkin, a scout ship, far too small and fragile to withstand such forces. Its distress beacon was fading, its energy core flickering like a dying candle. Lyra, can we stabilize their signal? Get any data? Alara asked, her voice tight with urgency. Lyra worked swiftly, filtering through the cosmic noise. A fragmented message coalesced, a single, sorrowful voice. It was an elderly woman, her face etched with despair, her eyes wide with a cosmic loneliness. Lost everything. The memory. It faded. The star of Athel. Forgotten. The connections. Broken. Oh, the silence. The message cut off abruptly, replaced by static. Alara felt a chill deeper than the cosmic cold. A forgotten star. A lost memory? She knew then that this wasn't just a physical tear. It was a tear in the tapestry of cosmic remembrance, a severing of the threads that link stars to their civilizations, civilizations to their pasts, and all living things to the grand interconnected consciousness of the universe. The star of Athel must have been a central point of connection, a beacon of shared memory or collective hope, and its fading had caused this catastrophic fray. Lyra, can we reach the ice spark? Can we pull it out? Alara asked, her gaze fixed on the tiny doomed ship. Negative Starlight Weaver. The energetic forces are too great. Any attempt would risk the Stardust L and yourself. Our only option is to mend the fray directly. If we can restore the cosmic connection, the forces will subside, and the Sparky might be released. Elara nodded, her jaw set. She knew what she had to do. This was beyond rescue. It was restoration. She couldn't save the Sparka until she saved the fabric of reality itself. She disengaged from the pilot's chair and moved towards the Stardust's core chamber, a circular room where the ship's heart pulsed with concentrated starlight. This was her sanctuary, her workshop, the place where she communed most deeply with her weaving abilities. In the center of the chamber, a shimmering sphere of pure, contained starlight floated, the very essence of the Stardust Eldtoy. Elara sat cross-legged before it, closing her eyes. She reached out, not with her hands, but with her mind, with her very essence, connecting to the ship, to Lyra, to the vast network of starlight that coursed through the cosmos. She felt the fray, a gnawing emptiness, a scream of disconnect. She focused on the faint, echoing sorrow, trying to understand its source. The Star of Athel. Lyra, ever helpful, projected a faint, ancient star chart into Elara's mind, showing a once vibrant star system, teeming with life, its central star named Ethel. But Ethel was now a dark void on the chart, erased, forgotten. The civilization that had thrived around it, the Ethelites, had vanished, not through war or catastrophe, but through a slow collective forgetting. They had lost their stories, their shared dreams, their very connection to their guiding star. And as the last memory of Athel faded from the cosmic consciousness, the star itself had dimmed, and the universe around it had begun to unravel. The fray was a manifestation of cosmic amnesia, a wound caused by the loss of connection and remembrance. Elara opened her eyes, her resolve hardened. This was more than just mending. It was rekindling a forgotten memory, reweaving a lost narrative. She extended her hands, palms facing the shimmering sphere of starlight. Threads of pure golden light began to emanate from her fingertips, swirling and coalescing in the air, responding to her will. Lyra, project the fray's energy signature. Focus on the core disruption. I need to find the lost frequency of Athel, the resonance of its memory. The chamber filled with complex, shimmering patterns of light and shadow, Lyra translating the fray's chaotic energies into a visual language Elara could interpret. It was a cacophony of broken frequencies, a disharmonious chord that jarred the soul. Elara began to weave, her movements slow, deliberate, like a cosmic dancer. She gathered strands of vibrant starlight, drawing them from the Stardust's core, from the very essence of her own being. She began to filter the noise, searching for the whisper of what was lost. It was painstaking work. Each thread she wove had to be imbued with intent, remembrance, connection, hope. She visualized the Star of Athel, not as a dark void, but as a brilliant beacon, radiating warmth and life. She imagined the Athelite civilization, their laughter, their wisdom, their dreams, seeing them not as forgotten ghosts, but as vibrant beings, their stories waiting to be retold. Hours passed. Elara's brow was furrowed in concentration, sweat beading on her temples. The strain was immense, a deep ache spreading through her mind and body. The fray fought back, its cold emptiness trying to consume the light she brought forth, to unravel her threads before they could bind. Doubt, a subtle whisper, tried to creep into her mind. What if it's truly gone? What if some things cannot be remembered? Why? But then she remembered the old woman's voice from the Sci-Fi, her desperate plea for help. Even in the depths of cosmic despair, a flicker of hope had remained, enough to send that signal. Elara clung to that flicker, nurturing it, letting it ignite her own determination. She found it then. A faint, almost imperceptible echo within the fray's chaos. A single, pure frequency, like a forgotten melody, the unique resonance of Athel. It was weak, almost swallowed by the surrounding darkness, but it was thither. With a surge of renewed energy, Elara seized the frequency, pulling it forth, amplifying it with the starlight she wove. The golden threads intensified, pulsing with a newfound power. She began to spin them around the lost frequency, like a cocoon of light, gently strengthening it, coaxing it back to life. She felt the entire Stardust L hum in unison with her, Lyra pouring all available energy into supporting her efforts. "Connect," Elara whispered, her voice resonating with cosmic power. "Remember? Reweave. The woven starlight, imbued with the remembered frequency of Athel, shot forth from the Stardust L, a brilliant beam of concentrated hope. It pierced the heart of the fray, not with force, but with gentle persuasion. And then, something miraculous happened. The iridescent black vortex began to shift. The chaotic energies within it started to coalesce, to settle. The distorted stars slowly snapped back into their rightful places. The whispers of sorrow began to soften, transforming into a gentle murmur of cosmic awakening. The fray, slowly, majestically, began to mend. The unraveling threads of space-time knitted themselves back together, not just closing the wound, but restoring the very connection that had been lost. Colors returned, vibrant and true, washing over the formerly monochrome region. The ghostly nebulae began to glow with a soft, ethereal light. At the heart of where the fray had been, a nascent star began to shimmer into existence. Faint at first, then growing steadily brighter, pulsing with a gentle, warm light. It was Athel, remembered, reborn, its memory rekindled in the cosmic consciousness. And as Athel returned, a ripple of warmth spread throughout the whispering veils, chasing away the cold, the silence, the profound loneliness. The tiny stardust sparking, caught in the fray's currents, was no longer pulled by destructive forces. It drifted gently, its distress beacon now silent, its energy core stabilizing. Elara watched, tears pricking her eyes, as a faint ethereal glow emanated from the Yoe Sparky's windows. It wasn't just the ship that was saved. It was the last fragment of the Athelite civilization, reconnected to their ancestral star, their memories restored. Elara felt the profound exhalation of the universe, a sigh of relief. The immense strain on her body and mind began to recede, replaced by a deep sense of peace and accomplishment. She had not only mended a tear in the cosmos, but she had rewoven a forgotten star, reconnected a lost civilization to its heritage, and restored a vital thread in the grand tapestry of existence. She guided the Stardust L towards the Ea Spark. A small, frail figure emerged from the scout ship, the elderly woman from the distress signal. Her face, no longer etched with despair, was now alight with wonder and a profound gratitude. She didn't speak, but her eyes, filled with newly remembered starlight, conveyed everything. She pointed to the reborn Athel, then pressed a hand to her heart, a gesture of profound thanks. Elara simply smiled, a warm, tired smile, and nodded. Her work here was done. She had brought light to the darkness, mended what was broken, and remembered what was forgotten. As the Stardust L turned for home, Elara looked back at the radiant new star, Athel, pulsing softly in the heart of the now peaceful whispering vales. The Stardust Sparky drifted peacefully nearby, a sentinel of renewed hope. The journey had been long, the challenge immense, but the reward was immeasurable. Back in her pilot's chair, Elara leaned back, feeling the comforting hum of the Stardust L beneath her. Lyra projected a gentle ambient light, a soothing green. She closed her eyes, letting the vastness of space embrace her, no longer a place of daunting unknown, but a canvas of endless possibility and interconnected wonder. She was a starlight weaver, a keeper of cosmic connections and a beacon of hope. And as she drifted off to sleep, cradled by the gentle rhythm of the Stardust L, she knew that even in the darkest corners of the universe, there was always light to be found, always a memory to be remembered, and always a way to mend what was broken, bringing peace to the endless night. Sleep well, little star dreamer. May your own connections shine bright.